Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is wink. Let's take a moment and discuss some of the definitions or the ways that we use this verb. The first way that we use the verb can mean to close and open one's eye rather quickly. I'll demonstrate, right? This is the action. Okay? Sometimes as people do this, as they close and open their eye quickly, they might be trying to tell you that they're joking, or maybe they're sharing a secret. Sometimes people will even do it in an attempt to flirt with another person or signal their interest in another human being. A second way the verb wink gets used can mean to pretend not to notice something bad. So the second definition is kind of like ignore. We're going to see some examples of this a little bit later. A third way the verb wink can be used is frequently in connection to lights. It might be when something shines or flashes intermittently. Right? So you might think something is off and on, right? That's what's meant by that. For now, you should know that wink is a regular verb. To make the progressive form of this verb, all you need to do is add ing to form winking. The past tense and participle forms of this verb can be made by adding ed. Our base verb wink ends in an unvoiced K sound. This means that our ed ending is going to make a T sound, and we're not going to add an extra syllable as we say it. So it should sound like this: winked, winked. Okay. Now there are actually a number of phrasal verbs connected to this verb wink, so we're going to focus our discussion on these verbs today. The first phrasal verb you might encounter is to wink at. This verb has a couple different meanings. We're going to discuss two of them. The first goes back to our original definition. So we're closing and opening our eye rather quickly or briefly, but we're doing it while looking at someone. So I'm trying to make eye contact with someone and do that particular action. So an example of this might be, oh my goodness, he's winking at you. Right? So maybe I'm noticing that someone looks to be flirting with one of my friends, right? I might say something like that. He's winking at you is an example of the present progressive or the present continuous. I'm talking about something happening right now. A second way to wink at goes back to the second definition of our verb. So this was to intentionally ignore, or you might think of this on purpose, right? To pretend not to notice something that is bad or even something that is illegal. Let's take a look at an example sentence. That government has winked at corporations violating environmental laws, right? So what this sentence is suggesting is people know that a particular, or in this case, maybe several corporations are breaking laws related to protecting the environment. And while a government's job should be to enforce those laws or make sure or seek out punishment if the laws are being broken, they're like, I'm going to pretend not to notice these laws being broken. Another phrasal verb you might encounter is to wink away. This phrasal verb can have four different meanings. The first way to use it is, again, in connection to lights. So you might think of a light blinking or twinkling continuously. You might think of it as off and on, right? Going like that. An example of that might be, the stars are winking away on this clear night. So you can imagine looking up, right, and seeing these different lights in the sky. A second way to use wink away can mean to open and close either one or both of your eyes rather frequently or continually. An example of this might be, he winked away in the bright sunlight coming through the bedroom window. So maybe we can imagine someone has just started to wake up, right? And they see this light, and their eyes are trying to adjust to the light. So they open and close repeatedly. Some people might also do this action of kind of wink away as they're trying to stay awake or focus on something. He winked away in the bright sunlight is an example of our verb in the simple past tense. Now, just a couple more phrasal verbs to look at. The third way to use a wink away can mean to force something from your eyes. It might be an attempt to clear it. Maybe there's something in your eye. Again, it could be in one eye, it could be in both, but it's going to require that motion of closing and opening, closing and opening. An example of this: she winked away tears as she learned about the factory's closing. So this might be someone who doesn't want to call attention, have others maybe notice, right? So maybe if they just open and close real quickly, the tears will go away. Another way to use a wink away, our fourth way, can again mean to ignore, dismiss, or disregard something in a very casual way. An example of this might be, despite confessing to the crime on a recording, he winked away the allegations when asked. Right? So there must be some type of audio recording, maybe a video recording, right? Where someone is saying like, yeah, I did this bad thing. I did this illegal thing. So when someone else asks, that person, even though we know that other thing exists, they try and ignore it, dismiss it, disregard it. That is another example of a simple past tense sentence. Our last phrasal verb to discuss today is to wink back. This can mean to move or remove something by winking. Again, it might be done when there's something in one's eye. An example of this: they winked back tears as they watched the movie, right? So they're trying to get the tears from their eyes. So we might use that to describe the action. Now, let's spend a moment talking about some words and two phrases related to our verb wink. And the first word we're going to discuss is just the noun form of this word. The noun has the exact same spelling and the exact same pronunciation as our verb. When I use the noun wink in a sentence, I am referring to the act of closing and opening one's eye. An example of this: the governor gave the crowd a wink as she spoke. Right? So perhaps we have a governor speaking to a crowd. The governor is attempting to make a joke, and to sort of reinforce that she is kidding, right? She might do something like that. A phrase you might either hear or see is wink wink. People will use or say this in order to indicate that what they're saying or maybe what they're doing is intended as either a joke or a secret. Let's take a look at an example sentence. This show will really make you think deeply. Wink, wink. I heard something very similar to this. A friend was not being serious. The friend was encouraging to have me watch something that was really kind of funny and silly, right? So to let me know that when she said, oh, you're going to think so deeply, right? She didn't really mean that. She was kidding. So adding that phrase, wink, wink, let me know. That's a joke. Another related phrase to our verb here is in the wink of an eye. This is just another way to say very quickly, right? It comes from the action, what we've been discussing, right? I can close and open my eye so quickly. So, hence, in the wink of an eye. Our children are going to be adults in the wink of an eye. Maybe this is something one parent says to another because they think that time just goes so fast. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.